Alright guys, welcome to my XXL Cypher verse review. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to go through and talk about each individual freshman's verse and say what I thought about them, and I'm going to rank them worst to best. So first, we're just going to get right into it. I want to say that Baby Keem gets an automatic last. He did not do a cypher. Luckily, this time everyone else did. I don't know why. He did kind of a Trippy Red thing where he freestyled but no cypher. I don't really like it, but tough place, Baby Keem. And now we'll get to the people who actually rapped. So 11th place is going to be Little Keed. I want to start by saying that even like this sad performance from Keed was way better than his freestyle. He had a lot of awkward moments or just like barely on beat moments, like he was kind of fighting against it. And then there was the long pause where he was before he said, "I get lazy," and it was just silence because nobody was doing ad libs or anything. That was very awkward. When he was on beat, it was pretty hype. Like when he was doing the do 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 woo woo, that was pretty cool. But he wasn't really saying much, and that also ended very quickly, and it went right back to him kind of fighting against the beat. So a lot better than his freestyle performance, but he still ends up technically last because Baby Keem didn't do a real verse. And I would assume that if he did, he'd have been better than Keed, but we can never prove that. So for 10th place, we have Polo G. So I know you guys are going to fry me for this one, but just hear me out. I personally don't care how good Polo's lyrics were if he cuts the beat. I've consistently placed those who cut the beat very, very low on my list, and it's because they are going with easy mode. He had some really nice lines like "I call my killers to come paint the walls on his house," but he eliminated the difficulty of delivering those lines on a beat. All he had to do was stand there in a room and just talk them. He didn't have to try and figure out which way the beat was going to go and how he should bend the line to let it fold to the beat. And it kind of, I think the ciphers are about showing your versatility, and I think he failed to do that with this verse. And I think anybody else who has cut the beat has failed to do that because they don't show us how well they can conform to the beat they're given. I want to hear on a cypher, I want to hear how they can flow on the beat. I don't really want to hear all that acapella shit. There have been plenty of rappers in XXL history that have had very good lyrical verses and have also done them on the beat. And this one is just boring to me if at the end of the cypher the beat is gone and you're just talking. His beat cut was also the most abrupt one, I think. There was no like fade out. Man just hit the space bar and it was gone. If he said exactly what he said and it still fit the beat, then I would have given him probably top 3, no doubt. But cutting the beat, he just gave himself a big handicap, and he's 10th for me. So you guys probably won't agree with that. You'll probably ignore the beat cutting and put him way higher, and that's cool. That's how you feel. I just personally think that cutting the beat should drop you pretty low. In 9th place, we have Little TJ. Considering the beat that he got, I was hoping for a much better performance. It was very weird to me that NLE Choppa outperformed him on this beat because this is a mellow piano kind of melodic beat, and that's almost exactly what TJ should be used to. But TJ was just boring on this. This flow was all right, like he flowed to the beat well, but it was just the energy. He sounded like he was bored, and if the rapper rapping sounds bored, then it's almost guaranteed going to make everyone else who's listening be bored. And that's what he accomplished here. Just very boring and forgettable. In 8th place, we have Rodwave. Like TJ, I was very disappointed with how he handled the beat. I thought, the melodic beat was like literally right up Rodwave style. Maybe it should have been a little more up paced for him, I guess. But like I said, these beats, they're not made for the specific rappers. The rappers are supposed to come and show how they can perform on these beats. And at the beginning of Rodwave's verse, it was really nice. And the ending wasn't terrible either. It was the middle. The meat of his freestyle cypher was not that great. He kind of awkwardly fumbled around the beat. He never fell off completely, but he had some weird flows that made him sound like he was about to fall off, and that's a little offsetting. And he had some weird things lyrically that made me feel like he just forgot some of his lyrics. The biggest one being "living with my cousin, bank account," and then he just took a breath and moved on to a new thing. And every time I've heard it, I just thought, what did bank account mean? Was that supposed to go somewhere else? Am I just missing the point of that bar? And if I am, then that's on me. But it just doesn't sound, it sounds like he forgot something, and it's confusing to me. It's not a bad verse per se, but Rodway's verse was nothing spectacular. For 7th place, we have Jack Harlow. I'm gonna go ahead and say right now that Jack and the next artist's verses are really similar to me, It came down to whose I preferred to listen to as opposed to any kind of technical stuff. And what brings Jack down is his vocal delivery in the middle of his verse and the abrupt ending at the end of his verse. I think he has a strong opening part, which was the part that they showed in the trailer, but also past that when he's like, I hit them both, ain't y'all friends, she know how to cook and take off pants. It was still nice. He had a nice flow and stuff. And lyrically and flow-wise in the middle, he wasn't that bad either. The ending is where it's a little rough because of how it just cuts off. What do you say? I got birds, but they're not canaries, and boom, it's gone. It's just a weird bar to land on as an ending bar. But the main thing that brings him off for me is during the middle section of his verse, his voice, he pitches it up. And I don't like hearing his high-pitched voice. It's not like high pitch, but it's higher than his usual voice. And I don't like it. It's just not that good to me. And because it takes up a good chunk of the verse, it kind of throws me off, and I just don't want to listen to that part of the verse. With that being said, I could almost go without this entire cipher, because Polo was boring, Keed was whack, and Jack spends the middle of his verse being a little cringy to listen to, in my opinion. It is a good verse. He was vibing on the beat. He was entertaining. He just shouldn't have done the high-pitched thing, if you ask me. So 6th place is going to be Cowboy. Like Jack, Kyle has a pretty strong opener and a middle part, but he trails off at the end, so it's literally the same setup. Throughout the beginning and middle, he flows well on the beat and has some nice lines in there as well. Lines like, I know some boys from the sandbox, probably won't see them boys to the grave, are very good. Like, damn, I like that line. The issue with Cowboy is that he is clearly freestyling, and that's not usually a bad thing, but because of that, he tries to do a new flow at the end, and he starts to lose the beat. It recovers at the very end, but before that, kind of like the section between the middle and the very last bar, he's fighting on and off the beat. Don't get me wrong, this beat is pretty bad, but still you have to fight with it and you have to stay on it. Mulatto, Fabio, and 24K all had to deal with the same beat, and none of them really fell off. So it just comes down to him he gets 6th place because of him losing the beat at the end. He could have been higher up if he would not have fell off the beat, but I do really enjoy his verse. In 5th place, we have Fabio Foreign. When I first heard his verse, I definitely did not think he'd be top 5. As I listened to the ciphers over and over again to make this list, it grew on me. The only real issues I have with the verse are that he stumbles at one point. I think he says we're going to light him on fire one time, and then he tries to say it again, and he kind of mumbles it, and he sounds very, very not confident. And also, Fabio raps on everything as if it's a drill beat. He rapped on this like it was a drill beat, and he rapped in his freestyle as if there was a drill beat with him. But at the same time, for this one, the drill beat was a lot of fun. Lyrically, he can spit some pretty good stuff, and it also goes with the drill beat, or the drill style. But I call them movers, and they come in 3, or the snitching, talking through the wire. We find who you is, we figure you out, we make you retire. Those are pretty nice, and those went with the drill flow. And when he gets comfortable on the beat, his flows are very nice. His delivery is smooth and confident. And I think I have some of the most fun this year listening to his verse. I'm just kind of vibing and bopping around with him. Also, I caught his mulatto response when he said, and I catch it if she throw it to me, and it took a second to stare at her. Also, shout out to Fabio for adding energy to the cipher and the other verses. It was a really nice change of pace compared to the other ones where there was almost no chemistry. In 4th place, we have NLE Choppa. He was one of the biggest surprises for me this year, and it's because of how he handled this beat, man. He took his usual aggressive style and made it a little more melodic, and it was really enjoyable. It was hard to decide whether he was 4th or 3rd, but he ended up getting 4th for 2 reasons. The first one was that he stumbled and mumbled a line. He did not fall off the beat, but he did mumble a line, and that's going to bring you down no matter what. And the second reason is I'm not with the whole eyes low, look like an Asian line. I don't like it. Not good line. Aside from that, though, it's very solid and very impressive, and I highly recommend listen to his verse if you haven't, because he brings some good energy to that cipher, and it's pretty fun. In 3rd place, speaking of energy, is 24K Golden. Based on his snippet, I thought he was about to just be like, all right, but damn, bro. He brought more energy in his verse than anyone else did. Like, no person in any other cipher brought as much energy as 24K did. His verse to me is the most fun to listen to, right above Fabio's. It's just that the ending of his isn't as strong. That's the part that's played in the cipher. I'm too legit to quit. We do this every day from LA to the Bay. We never play. It's the weakest part of his verse, energy-wise and delivery, flow-wise and lyrically. It's pretty simple. I also like that when Flavio was rapping, 24K picked up the ad libs to keep the energy throughout the cipher. So he was doing kind of a heroic thing there, which was very much needed because that cipher's energy was already high, and I feel like the ad libs would keep it going. 24K had a very, very energetic verse. He had some pretty slick lines in there, and it was really fun to listen to. The only reason he's not higher is because even though some of his lines are slick, if you do look at them all, he never really says anything super like complex compared to what these next two do, or anything really crazy. So he does end up there just because he doesn't match the lyrical talent of the next two, but he's still very, very good. In second place, before I reveal exactly who it is, I want to go ahead and point out, you may have noticed that the top two are the two female rappers on the list this year. And I want to say props to them for showing out for other female rappers and showing that female rappers are just as good, or not, if not better, than some male rappers, because both of them went crazy this year. But my pick for second place is Mulatto. And this is absolutely the hardest thing to decide on this list. Mulatto's verse is damn near flawless. Good punchlines, great flow, great delivery. It's just wow. She also includes great lines such as, or I got a bag and paid for my sister's tuition, I paid it off. And I just dropped $100 on jewelry during a pandemic. Yeah, my money that long. I donated too, so don't mock me. I like her saying how much money she has, but then also saying that she does good shit with it too. And then other parts of the verse, she says other things she buys that aren't like great things. But I mean, if she wants to buy them and she has the money, she can do whatever she wants. And it's cool that she says like she donated the money and paid off her sister's tuition. That's just really great. I could almost quote her whole verse to show why it was good, but I think I need to explain why she isn't first. This should show how close it is, because the only thing that made me put her second was I don't really like the flow transition when she starts saying, "Bitch, I get my Mac on." That's it. It's the only thing, is that small flow transition. I watched her verse a lot of times. I could not find any other issues. I was also surprised when she said if Fabio wanted her, she wouldn't pass on him, with him standing there and hyping her up the whole time. She had my man sweating and grinning. But definitely a great verse. Really, really good opener to that cipher. It was set the bar very high, and nobody else met it. But she did very, very good. So for first place, that leaves Chica. And I listened to her and Mulatto's verses over and over and over again, trying to place them. I found one slight issue by being nitpicky in Mulatto's after about 7 listens to just her verse. That's not counting me listening to the full cipher over and over again. And after about the same amount of solo listens to Chica's verse, I couldn't find a single problem. No matter how hard I looked for one, she had great delivery and confidence. She rides the beat extremely well, and her lyrics are all pretty nice as well. Some of my favorite lyrics from her were, "Got used to a budget, but now in stores I say, fuck it, I don't care what it costs. And when they put my name on the board, make sure it's in permanent ink." As with Mulatto, her whole verse is pretty much quotable, so I definitely recommend you just go listen to it. Chica managed to switch up her flow multiple times while still staying on beat, and she delivered good lines at the same time, just about flawlessly. That's why she's my number one pick for the cipher verse. If I could have just said that Mulatto and Chica were tied for first, I would have, but I feel like that's kind of a hoe move, so I did not do that. I just want to give some final thoughts. This video might be a little longer for what the topic is, but I mean, it's fine. What I like to say is I like to rank the 3 ciphers as a whole. So simply put, the worst one is Jack Harlow, Little Keed, and Polo G. Keed and Polo are the bottom 2 on this list, so you can see why they're bottom. The next one, the middle one, would be NLE Choppa, Rod Wave, Chica, and Lil TJ. NLE Choppa and Chica both placed in the top 5, Chica being number 1. But Rod Wave and TJ placed very low, and listening to that one, they do kind of drag it down. They're also between, they go in that order. So you got the good verse in Choppa, then the for Rod Wave, then a good verse in Chica, and then you can just turn it off because TJ will bore you to death if you continue. And the best overall cipher being Mulatto, 24K Golden, Fabio Foreign, and Cowboy. 3 out of 4 of those people placed in the top 5, and Cowboy placed just out of the top 5. They had the most fun. Like, listening to them is absolutely the most fun you'll have listening to any verse or any cipher on this list. They all killed it, man. They were the best cipher, hands down. Regardless of whether Chica was the best individual verse or not, as a whole, that group was the best group. So thank you guys for watching this one. I appreciate it, and I hope to see you in my next video.